It's been a day.
It's been a day. Okay, well, welcome back to our podcast. What's our podcast name again? Oh yeah, BnB Anime.
Ah, two
Yeah,
weeks in a row. We
2 weeks
got
in a row.
this.
I remembered the welcome back this week, but I forgot the name of the podcast. It's been a day. But my name is
You
Blue, and
did
I am
good.
here with my co-host.
I am Brad.
Yeah, that's who you are.
I am Brad.
Yes, yes, you are. Congratulations on remembering your own name.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. So many brain
I
cells have
deserve
been
the
used.
praise.
All of the brain cells. Yeah, today we're going to be covering Tanaka-Kun Is Always Listless, which is different than our original plan because what happened, Brad?
Moving took precedent over being able to set up a VPN so I can watch the Kiki's delivery service, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm very glad we did this. This was great. Blue,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it actually happened to be a fantastically happy accident because when we were discussing what we were going to cover instead, we both thought, oh, well, we'll just do another movie. And so I trotted myself over to Crunchyroll and looked up something slice of lifey. So I looked up slice of life and I was looking for things with either one episode, aka movie, or short amounts of episodes. And I stumbled across this anime and the description was funny. So I watched an episode and then I told Brad, I was like, we have to cover this. This is hilarious. And the OP is amazing. And yeah, he watched an episode and that was it. And we were off. It's just pre-warning. We're gonna be gushing about this whole thing the whole time because it's really good. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I'm not happy with you because I cannot get the OP out of my head. It's so bad. It will not get out of my head.
Oh my god, it's been in my head for the past 2 days and I've been playing it on repeat. It's genuinely amazing. If you don't watch this anime, go onto YouTube, watch the OP, because oh my god, it's so good. But anyway, we're getting completely ahead of ourselves. How are you?
I am well, but I'm also tired. It has been a week.
I expect so. Moving is always a lot.
And I've also spent, I guess today counts as the fourth day cleaning out my office.
Ooh.
Or my soon to be office.
Fun.
My lord. I have not been a happy camper
Oh no.
at all.
Oh no.
But you know what? It'll get better. Everything will be fine.
You did find a Yule and April notebook though, didn't you?
I did. As I was cleaning everything out, I was like, I have found it. It has been so long.
It's been so long.
But I was very happy to find that. So, yeah, that's been good. I've got a lot of anime watch, so that definitely makes the week better. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been a little stressed. I think everyone kind of is around this time. For future reference to everybody that may be listening in the future, we're for the past couple of weeks we've been in craziness, coronavirus central, and cases are springing up consistently on the rise still. And yeah, it's been a stressful time for I think everyone. And yeah, I'm just trying to figure out good ways to do things. So yeah, high stress week for both of us, I think, for the entire world really right now. But yeah, that's why I think this anime came at a really, really good time for the both of us.
It really did. It really did. It kind of cut back a lot of the tension, although it did, but it didn't for me at the same time because I have been stressing out about trying to get it watched.
Oh.
Because literally all my time outside of work has been spent trying to get that room pieced together.
Yeah.
It has been a time. So I literally got the last episode finished right before we sat down to record this. I was like, it's gotta get done. I have to have it done.
Yeah, I actually managed to watch it through twice. So yeah, I've seen it twice.
Look at you go. I'm so proud.
I tell you
But
why
it's
though.
so good. It's totally worth watching through a few times.
Oh yeah, yeah, if we're still getting ahead of ourselves, this episode, this is how much we've enjoyed this anime, is that we can't even, we just want to jump right into talking about it, despite the fact that we have news to get through and like all the other stuff. But I will say that the reason why I watched it through twice is because the first time I watched it, I just forgot to take notes. Just completely. I sat down to watch it and it just became fun anime watching time, and I didn't take a single note. I didn't even grab my notebook. It didn't occur to me at all until I got to the last episode and I watched the whole thing and I was singing the OP at the end because they put the full version of the OP at the end of the last episode. And I was just singing along, and then I was like, oh my god, I haven't taken a single note throughout this whole anime. And so today I watched it through a second time.
Except you're full of lies because you have notes because of all the stuff I sent you about it.
That's true. That is true.
Like, I'm not sorry for blowing your phone up during all of this. I'm not sorry in the slightest because I was messaging her about everything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Every bit of it.
Honestly, it was great because by the time that you got into like the height of your messaging, I had already watched everything. So I was like waiting for your next message to be like, oh my god, I know what happens next. I can't wait till he reacts to this part. And it was great. It was really, really great.
Oh yeah, because she had finished the show by the time I started to actually get into it. She's like, okay, I've binged everything. And I'm like, I have watched the first episode.
Honestly, once I started watching it, I couldn't stop. It was like some kind of drug. I mean, I know I tend to have more of an addictive personality than a lot of other people, but like it was insane. I was like, okay, I'm not streaming, I'm not doing any work, any voice acting stuff, it's getting put on hold, editing for other people. Yeah, no, all stopped because I have an anime to watch. Like it genuinely infected my bones.
Everything that is important is no longer important.
Completely. I was like, okay, I'm never seeing my parents again. Like, this is it. I've signed my life away.
Mom, Dad, sorry.
It was intense. And yeah, I know, it was the same the second time through. It was genuinely very, very good. But anyways, before we jump into the meat and bones of Tanaka-Kun Is Always Listless. Oh my god, I can't speak.
You have the words.
I have the words. Tanaka-Kun Is Always Listless. What did we get for news today?
So, in video game / anime news, Jump Force is coming to Switch. And it's getting a DLC character in Shoto Todoroki. Which, Jump Force, not a fan.
Can't say I'm familiar with it, to be honest.
That game had all the potential in the world. Like, it could have been great. Its gameplay style was actually really good because I got it at launch. Let me tell you how bad this game was.
Oh.
The cutscenes, even the Japanese dubbing. Like, I know with a lot of dubbed games, like the lip syncing will be a little bit off, with Dragon Ball FighterZ being one of the worst, with the dub being so far off.
Yeah.
The Japanese version was off with the lip syncing. And I'm not just talking about off a little bit. I'm talking about off.
That's fun.
Not only that, but unskippable cutscenes. The story was so bland and unimaginative. It just felt like it was rushed. It was terrible. And I hate now that Todoroki is ingrained in the story because Deku and All Might have already been ruined because of this, and you ruined another one.
No.
But I mean, like, the gameplay was great. I love the fighting in it. The multiplayer was terrible, but it could have been so much better.
That's a shame.
But that's my rant over about that because I had high expectations going into it, and then they crushed me.
Yeah, it's super disappointing when things like that happen. Especially if you were looking forward to it prior to the launch, and then you get your hands on it, and it's just like 50% of the effort that you thought was going to be put into it.
And I think that was one of the last games that I actually pre-ordered besides The Last of Us, because that one that burned me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can definitely see how you would lose faith in the people that created it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think it was some people that have actually done some really good work, but I don't know if they just rushed it to get it out or what, but it's just not good.
Yeah, I've had that with a couple of book series that I've read, and the I feel like the publishing companies or whatever get on the authors' cases, and same with like webtoons and manga. I found as well, they get rushed by a deadline,
Mm-hmm.
and the quality then lacks. Like I feel like maybe they needed to spend more time on it, but they'd already done like a teaser trailer or something and didn't want to postpone it, and so had to rush to get it out, and then it severely lacked in quality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely happened with a few things.
Yeah.
And then one last piece of video game news.
Ooh.
So the ESRB and PEGI rating has added descriptors to games with in-game purchases for loot boxes.
Hmm.
So that's an interesting thing, I guess, to try to deter parents from getting games for their kids where they can steal credit cards and just charge a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure you've seen those memes of stuff going around where kids have gotten a hold of credit cards and charged like thousands of dollars
Yeah.
worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite being the worst of them, and Overwatch as well.
Yeah, well, there was a family vlogging group. I remember some commentary channel talking about it a while ago. That did that as like all of their videos were completely scripted. But they were like a family
Mm-hmm.
vlogging channel, had two small sons, and they did that in one of their scripted videos. But their target audience was about the age of their two small sons, and
Mm-hmm.
they did it as like their kids stole the credit card, charged the account, and then the parents were like mad for a second, but then the dad was like, oh well, I wanted money in Fortnite anyway, so then the dad wasn't even that mad, and then the mum comes in and she's like, oh, what did you do? I'm mad now. And then she just got over it in like a second because the dad was like, hey, we can just give it away to our subscribers. And so like there was no consequences for the kids in that video. And so I could completely see how then kids would look at that and then go, oh, those kids didn't even get in trouble. Or like their mum was only mad for a second. Like I can do that. And then go and do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's obviously not the same situation because it's not scripted.
It's like, yeah, this not okay?
Yeah, no, no. Did you ever steal money from your parents when you were little?
So listen, I was a big fan of having drinks at school.
Mm-hmm.
So all the quarters lying around, yeah, that bought me drinks. Just snatching them right off the counter.
I don't know if I consider that stealing as such, because we had a coin pot in our house that just like whenever you had any loose change, you put it in the coin pot. And it was there for anyone to just kind of take it. So I'm not sure if I consider like toonies, or what do you call them in America? Just $2? Do you have $2 coins?
No, we have dollar coins and 50-cent coins, but
Oh,
we don't.
okay. Well, we have we have loonies and toonies here in Canada. So a loonie is a $1 coin, and a toonie is $2 coin. A loonie's called a loony because it's got a bird on it, and the bird is a loony bird. And then a toonie is a toonie because it's two loonies. So then it's a toonie.
Canada never ceases to amaze me. I am so humored. Look, okay, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at you.
Wait till you get your hands on Canadian money. I'm gonna lose it.
So, is it true that Canadian money is scratch and sniff?
See, this is a myth. This is a conspiracy theory in Canada. Because it's supposedly, I think it's on the $50 bill or maybe the $100 bill. I don't know. That if you scratch it, it smells like maple syrup. But apparently the government has said that it's not true. However, if you smell it, it does smell like maple syrup. Like I've smelled it myself. It smells like maple syrup. So the theory goes that Canadians just consume so much maple syrup that naturally, as the money gets passed around, it gets the smell of maple syrup embedded into it. And so the government hasn't infused it with maple syrup, Canadians have.
So, but are you sure it's the money itself and it's not everything in Canada? It's just maple syrup scented, the candles, the air, even the fuel?
Yeah, most things are
Like,
maple syrup around here. Like you
okay,
can get
makes
maple
sense. Okay.
bacon, you can get maple candles, you can get maple teddies. You know, they've got like like potpourri, like scented flowers and stuff, but they have them as maple scented, so you can like get a teddy bear that smells like maple. Um,
That sounds like the perfect Valentine's gift for any Canadian woman. Shop now at
right?
bnbanime/merch.com.
Slash this is
Web,
fake.
yeah, that website doesn't exist.
Right? Uh, yeah, no, yeah, there's maple scented everything around here. Oh, you know what was funny though? A couple of years
Hmm.
back, Tim Hortons, which is obviously number one Canadian coffee brand, coffee shop, they made a ice cap, which is basically their version of a Starbucks Frappuccino. They came out with a maple syrup one, and their slogan was, "We're sorry we didn't think of this sooner." And that's how they marketed it. It was just, "We're sorry we didn't come out with maple scented coffee drinks sooner."
That is amazing, and that is brilliant marketing.
Right? They were good. I tried one. They were good. I liked them. A bit sweet for me, but then I just got an extra shot of espresso in it, and it was really good.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny. They do maple donuts, though. They're pretty much all season.
Hmm.
Hmm.
See, I'm not a big donut person, but that's because it's just too much bread, and also I don't do sweets.
Yeah, I'm not much of a sweet person either. They do like tea biscuits, which are basically just scones, and those are really good at Tim's. I like them.
Hmm.
For a while, they had a Beyond Meat sandwich, which was like the Beyond Meat burger patty, but it was done as a sandwich. So it was cold lettuce and salad fillings, and then like salad dressing on it, and in a bun and stuff. It was really nice. It was a nice way to do it because I feel like you get the Beyond Meat burger, you have it as a burger all the time, and they didn't. They did it as a cold sandwich. It was really really nice, but it was only limited time only, and now it's gone, and I'm sad.
That interests me.
Tim Hortons, bring back the Beyond Meat sandwiches. They were really good.
Bring back all the Beyond Meat stuff.
And they did a spicy version too.
That sounds like right up my alley.
So
I like
good.
spicy stuff.
I had chili for dinner, and so now I've got like remnants of spicy salsa and chili in my mouth, and I keep like getting hints of it, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna make my nose run throughout the entire podcast.
See, I feel the same, but also because it's the height of allergy season here. So that's why the past 2 or 3 podcasts I've sounded like shit.
You know what's hilarious? It's the height of allergy season for you, but there's still snow on the ground for me.
Canadians! Oh, and also, by the way, with the elephant in the room, I also apologize if my audio quality is different this time around too. I am recording in an undisclosed location, so if you hear
Ooh.
stuff in the background, it's the nosy neighbors.
Mysterious location. I also apologize for my stomach that you may or may not hear growling throughout the podcast. It's been growling all day. I told Brad about it, and Brad says that my stomach is now going to be a secondary character in the podcast.
Yeah, just
So,
like there's editing Brad and editing Blue, we now have Blue's stomach. Which, to be fair, I don't know if you've noticed, or if you noticed, but the second you hopped on the Discord call, it growled. That was the first thing I heard. I didn't even hear greeting. It was stomach.
honestly, it doesn't surprise me. It's been so loud all day, and I was like, oh my god, I hope it settles down after I have my dinner. Probably not the best idea to have spicy chili.
Don't you know how to eat, woman?
I like spicy food, even if my body doesn't.
No, I'm just saying, don't you know how to eat if it's been growling all day? Food.
I know, but like I had a pain au chocolat for breakfast. What do you call them? Chocolate croissants? I don't know. In Starbucks, they call them chocolate croissants. It's pain au chocolat. Had one of those for breakfast. Had some lunch that I can't remember what, and then I had chili for dinner. So I have eaten 3 meals a day
I've had
today.
2 meals today, but I ate way too much for dinner.
What did you have?
So I made pork chops, but I made my secret ramen style pork chops where I get the
Ooh.
extra thick cuts, sear them on both sides, and then throw them in the oven
Mm,
with biscuits, gravy, and eggs.
that's such a southern dinner.
It's very southern because here in the South we cover everything in gravy.
Yeah, it's like in the north in England, which is hilarious because those are opposites. But yeah, in the north, like it's known that everyone covers everything in gravy.
But yeah, I couldn't help it, but then it was unintentional, but I tried to pan cook the pork chops, but it was taking way too long, so I was like, think. You have watched too much Food Wars. And I was like, oh, ramen style. Let's do that. And then nobody could, like, everybody just kept talking about it. Everybody loved it. It was a hit. So I have a feeling I'm going to be held at gunpoint to make those again at some point.
Well, I'm glad it went down well. And I'm sorry to everyone that may be listening that is now hungry. You can join me in the stomach gurgles.
Yes, but also watch Food Wars. Get more stomach gargles. 100%.
Yeah.
Like, we'll push that off on everyone.
That's one thing though. The past few animes that we've watched, the food in them, despite the fact that they're not food animes, has looked really good. I can't think of a single anime that we've reviewed recently that's had bad looking food.
You see, I feel like this one didn't have bad looking food either. The only thing is that it was just very plain. Like, it was good and they put emphasis on it. But it was just like your standard, typical, I guess, like school food, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, but then the cookies looked really good in the Danishes.
They did, and also the really cute cookies.
Yeah.
Like, they
and
were
the really
extra
masculine
cute.
cookies.
Machaco.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, anyway, as we're jumping into it, I guess we will officially jump into it. And
But
start
wait,
talking
there's
about...
more news.
There's more news? Oh,
There's
no.
more news.
What's the news?
Okay, so, and I am very heartbroken over this one. So, SAO Alicization War of the Underworld's second part has been delayed until July.
Yeah, that's kind of expected at this point, though.
I am so hurt over this. I was a week away from finally getting past my cliffhanger. A week.
Yeah, that's a really last-minute delay.
It really is. So I was really shocked by that one, but they might have just delayed it because I think now Japan's state of emergency has actually went throughout the whole country instead of just a select few cities.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they just delayed it instead of having to like take a break halfway through. Why not just delay it until they think they've got it handled and then do it from there?
Well, it makes me wonder if they've finished the entire thing, like if every single episode is done, it just needs to be released now, or if they didn't finish like the last few episodes and now can't finish the last few episodes because of the state of emergency, so they can't get into the studios and stuff. And because of that, that's why it was delayed. Because to me, it makes really good sense right now to release an anime because everything else is being delayed, so it kind of gives yours more of a spotlight showing, and everyone's at home, so people are going to be watching more TV. So if you're having a TV broadcast, like a TV debut, like if it's being showed on TV, then surely you would want it now because people aren't likely to miss it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would definitely make the most sense for something like that. And also, you have people like me who have been chomping at the bit to get it, and then now I can't. So now I'm just heartbroken.
Yeah, but like, because I can definitely see for myself, like as someone that doesn't really gravitate towards Sword Art Online, I can definitely see that if there was nothing else on, like everything else that I was watching had been delayed, but that one was showing, I would watch it because it'd be like, oh, okay, well, there's nothing else, so I'll watch this, and it might end up getting a separate section of viewers that it wouldn't have initially gotten because of that. Yeah, I don't know. I figured that now would be a fantastic time to have a launch of a new anime, but I guess you have to have the anime completed at this time for that to work because you don't want to end the season halfway through, as you said.
Yeah, I'm very curious how they do stuff over there and how like far shows are actually done by the time they actually release them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know with Dragon Ball Super, they were having trouble with getting episodes out. So they were swapping studios for each episode.
Yeah.
At least whenever they were starting out. So the animation quality for like the first 30 or 40 episodes of Super had moments to where, oof, the animation was just trash in certain frames, but it was like multiple frames to where it was very noticeable to where your main character's in a fighting scene where your animation should be at its peak, look like background characters in an OP. So, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Or Tanaka-Kun when he's trying to be invisible.
Yes. And then this weekend, Funimation is streaming Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl. And it's only going to be streaming this weekend, Friday to Monday. So from the time you're listening to this, you have one day to go out and watch it because apparently the film picks up right where the first season of the anime left off.
Right.
And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I was hounding Blue about this last night on the stream of we need to cover it because it's a really great show and it's a really smart show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really enjoyed it. It deals with a lot of psychology elements.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really hard to describe. It's not what it sounds like, though. I swear, it's not. It's not a lot of fan service and plot.
Yeah.
It's legitimate plot, not plot.
Actual plot.
How many times have I had to say that in the past couple of episodes? It's not plot, it's plot.
Yeah, especially last episode with Are You Lost?
Yes.
There's a lot of plot and plot in that one.
Oh, yes. So much plot and plot. And then the last piece of news I got, Junji Ito launches a new horror manga. I'm interested. I really enjoy Junji Ito's work because I'm a big horror fan myself. I'm more into horror games and horror animes than I am horror films.
Yeah.
But just because horror films to me, I don't know. I guess I grew up playing horror games, which sounds weird, but I can clearly remember at 5 years old playing. There was something on the PlayStation 1. I think it was like Alone in the Dark or something. I just remember it being in a 2-disc set. And I remember playing it, having the absolute shit scared out of me. And then, or like having nightmares for like 2 weeks because of that damn game. But then, like, I don't know. I just adore horror games. Like, if I could stream them all the time, I would. But I would run out of horror games at that point.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about... I kind of agree with you. I prefer horror games and horror manga / anime over horror movies because I feel like horror movies have reached the point in like Hollywood where they aren't super creative anymore because they're so cheap to make. So the priority for them is making them quickly and making them cheaply and then getting them out and making a profit. And because of that, people don't take serious horror movies seriously. And like really, it's really hard. Like when you think about like a new horror movie coming out that's like high budget and well written with a detailed script and stuff. I mean, those happen once every blue moon, you know? Whereas even with other genres where things happen quickly and get thrown out all the time, like romantic comedies and stuff. Every year or so, there'll probably be at least one with a high budget that's well written, you know? But horror movies aren't in like, they're just pumped out. Like, as many as you can get it out. And because of that, all of the good horror writers go into kind of books, really, I guess. But even then, there's a lot of, like, quick thrown out there, like, cheaply made horror books as well. So I feel like, but with manga and anime and video games, the competition is different, the atmosphere is different, because people are reading them, watching them, and they have and playing them with much more of a high critique. I feel like they're picking them apart more and vocalizing their opinions, and there will be a definite impact in finances if it's a good horror anime or a good horror video game compared to a bad one. Whereas in horror movies in Hollywood, you probably won't see that much of a financial difference between a cheaply made, thrown out fast one and a really good, well-written, expensive one, because the same kinds of people go watch horror movies all the time, you know?
And not only that, but I guess, like, especially video games, they're a lot more interactive to where you have to stay engaged and pay attention the entire time. Because I know, like, Visage, whenever I streamed a lot of that back in October, I have not been that horrified playing a game in... I can't tell you how long, or I can't tell you when the last time I was that horrified, period.
Yeah.
Like, that was a lot of fun, but also, my shoulders still hurt.
Yeah. No, I my one critique with horror games, probably, and this is not for all horror games, because obviously there are exceptions to this, but I'm not a very good gamer, I don't pretend to be. I enjoy video games, but I'm definitely not a pro gamer by any means. And because of that, I die a lot and
Mm-hmm.
need to get reset a lot, and so I replay parts a lot. And because of that, horror games can sometimes get really repetitive, and then I kind of get immune to the scares. Um, but obviously, there are games where that isn't such a thing because it focuses more on the story and you playing through the story and less so on you actually dying and getting reset. But there are quite a few where I've like been playing them, especially ones on stream where I'm distracted by chat and then that kind of breaks the tension, and then I die and then I replay it through, and then it doesn't scare me as much as others that have been much simpler in like actual gameplay and much easier to complete, but have scared me a lot more because I haven't gotten like played through it like 5 times through that one section,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand that completely, but I don't know. I feel like it has to be a little bit challenging because that's also what's going to keep you on edge because a
True.
giant monster barreling at you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's going to get old,
Yeah.
but
Well, because a part of it is that you're concentrating so hard that you forget about things and then they pop up and scare you.
mm,
So that is definitely a part of it, is you need to have that level of concentration on something else for that element of distraction. And so, yeah, they do have to have a certain level of difficulty. But that's why I think probably I prefer watching people play horror games than playing them myself.
mm, I don't know. It might just be because I've grown up playing them, but like I've always been the kind of person whenever I play games to kind of commentate. So I've had like my cousin, for instance, like he would love to watch me play anything.
Hmm.
And I've never been one to really sit back and watch unless it's like the Let's Plays on YouTube now to where it's just like it's something I know I'm not going to buy.
Yeah.
So I'll sit back and watch, but especially horror games, I'm the kind of person where I just want to get in and play because I want to actually experience like I guess like how legitimately scary it can
Yeah.
be.
Hmm.
Like Visage, like after I was told about it, I was like, I'm not going to watch any gameplay because I just want to see it and I want to experience it. And oh boy, was it fun
Yeah. Yeah, I
or
completely get
horrifying.
that. See, I was like your cousin, but it was me watching my brother play when we were little.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I didn't actually get into playing video games until I was in high school. Although I did have like a Game Boy Advance and played like games on my Game Boy, but like not properly. I wouldn't consider myself a gamer until I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I got into like Minecraft and stuff. And yeah, so I have always been on the more watching side of things, and then it's only really recently with starting streaming that I play games as much as I do. Anyway, gaming was never like a huge part of my life until I started streaming, and now it's become like now whenever I game, I'm basically streaming.
Mm-hmm. Which it's kind of become that way for me too. Like the only time I have time to game now is whenever I stream, but also like I don't know, it feels wrong to game and not stream now because I
Yeah,
miss the interaction with people. Like it's
yeah,
I don't know, it's almost ingrained and it feels really lonely
yeah.
playing
Agreed.
without having anyone around now.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, there's been a couple of times when I've been like loading in content into my Sims games or making sure that I've saved things into the right worlds or, doing like background stuff where I don't stream it. And I find myself like talking out loud and then I'm like, oh, wait, not streaming.
I've had moments like that too. And like I
Hmm.
said, like it's almost been natural for me to commentate, but whenever
Yeah.
I'm doing that by myself, I'm like, I'm going crazy a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I talk to myself anyways. Like, I am a person that just like, as I'm doing things, I'll just have a small conversation with myself. Apparently, it's a sign of intelligence. So that's what I'm going to take it as. Um, but I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. It just enhanced it starting streaming and then talking about what you do and then just keeping that up and continuing talking about what you do.
mm, for sure. But yeah, so after that tiny little tangent, I'm out of news.
Ooh, okay. Well, I guess we will jump into it now. So
Aha.
let's pull a Philip DeFranco and just jump into it. Um, I think it's jump right into it. Is that what he says? Let's
I
just jump right into it.
I
I can't
I
remember.
don't know. I'm just here to
I'm just
talk
here.
and randomly give nonsense.
It's like, sup, you beautiful bastards. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. I'm your host, Phil, and let's just jump into the news. I think it's something like that. I can't remember.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Yeah, anyways. Yeah, so Tanaka-Kun Is Always Listless. That is the anime that we are discussing today, as you probably figured out by the title and the fact that we've mentioned it like 500 times already.
Wait,
If you
we
haven't picked
are?
that up,
Shit, here I was watching Food Wars this week, getting ready for this week's episode. Damn it, no wonder I was so far behind.
yeah, if you haven't picked it up by now, maybe you want to refresh, go get a cup of tea or coffee, perhaps have a nap, because I feel like maybe your brain cells aren't working the best. Um, but
But
yeah,
speaking of Food Wars, the 5th season started this week, and oh my god, it's so good.
yeah, I haven't seen the first episode yet. I need to, because the last one left off on such a weird bit.
Yeah, it gave a cliffhanger, and then you watch the first episode, and you get to see more of the person and who he is that you saw in
Ah,
the cliffhanger of the 4th season, but you don't truly, like, my advice to you, Blue, but also everyone else watching, watch through the ED, which you should watch through the ED for the first episode of any show, season, whatever, just at least through the first episode. But the ED for Food Wars Season 5 gives away more
mm,
info than the OP does for once, at least in my opinion. The ED itself tells a
interesting.
story. So I don't know. I recommend it. Anyway, I had to get Food Wars off my chest because after everything that I've watched outside of Tanaka-Kun this week, Food Wars was excellent. I enjoyed it. I kind of like where they're going with
Yeah,
everything. They still made it interesting.
yeah.
So, yeah, I had to get that off my chest. Anyway, Tanaka-Kun, I need a nap after watching this show.
Oh yeah, I think everyone needs a nap. Okay, so Tanaka-kun is it was originally a web manga published by Square Enix, written by Nozomi Uda, and published by uh, Gan Online. I think I said that right. Or Gangan, I'm not sure. And the original runtime, it was from April 26th, 2014 to July 25th, 2019 with 13 volumes. It was then adapted into an anime directed by Shinya Kawatsura. Sure. Written by Akibi Omode, and was produced by Silverlink.
And if you're not familiar with Silverlink, they have done
Hmm.
quite a bit of, I guess, slightly more higher profile shows in a sense, depending on how
Yeah.
you want to look at it. Like Baka and Test, like I was really familiar with them even before I got back into anime just because of people talking about it.
Hmm.
But then outside of that, they've done Masamune Kun's Revenge, which is another one of those that I started watching like right after I got back into anime. It was an odd
Hmm.
one for sure, but also I'm really pissed that I haven't got my second season of it yet because
Hmm.
it had a really interesting premise. So the main character was fat whenever he was younger, and
Right.
but he had a crush on like this really rich, really beautiful girl, and they were really close friends. Like they were really close childhood friends.
Hmm.
So, but one day he went over to her house, and so there was some sort of miscommunication that it shows later on in the show, but she ended up like calling him a pig.
Oh.
And so after that, like it devastated him. And so he went into like full like rehabilitation mode and got ripped
Right.
and everything and started a new school, like changed his name, but went to the same school as her so he could get his revenge on her to make him or to make her fall in love with him so he could break her heart for it.
Right.
And so you get to see their relationship and dynamic change through the show. And then it ended with like her finding out who he was,
Right.
but then like nothing. And I'm like, damn it.
Oh, that's such a
I need
cliffhanger.
more. Like I got invested. Like it's such an odd show and it was so weird for me to get into
Yeah.
whenever I'm just getting back into anime. But I'm like, don't. Like this is the shit that like dead man wonderlands you of just like, why? And
Right.
especially somebody who's new. I wasn't new. I grew up watching anime, but like just getting back into
Yeah.
the scene of what anime could be
Yeah.
in the present day. Why?
Yeah. Did you go and read the manga?
I think I tried, but everywhere I looked, I don't think it was caught up.
Right.
But yeah, but the manga is in the Japanese name, and it basically translates to like not his revenge.
Right.
So that's where I'm like,
Hmm.
spoiler.
So, how does that go?
I have no clue.
Um, Tanaka-Kun's runtime for the anime was between April 9th, 2016 to June 25th, 2016. It's 12 episodes. And Tanaka-Kun is also another one where I wished there was a second season. And when I got to Crunchyroll and we got to the last episode, was on Crunchyroll, got to the last episode, I went down into the comments and every single comment was just pretty much cry face, there's no second season. So yeah, I feel like Silverlink has a reputation of blue balling you for a second season.
Silverlink really does, because I was like, as I was going through all the shows that they did, there's not like, I don't think there's any second seasons across any of this. The only thing that I think might, or Death March to a Parallel World might be getting a second season.
Right.
Silverlink also did Wise Man's Grandchild, go figure. And then Bofuri, which I have talked about. And then My Next Life as a Villainess, which I'm also watching right now, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm 99% certain that Bofuri will be getting a second season.
Yeah.
And then My Next Life as a Villainess, I doubt they're going to be able to complete their story in one season. At least I hope not, because I'm really enjoying that right now.
Yeah.
So maybe they're getting on the ball with like actually giving second seasons.
Yeah.
And like there's if they ended this one without giving us a second season, I'm gonna cry. I'm still holding out hope since we just found the show. Like maybe tomorrow they'll announce we're
Maybe
getting a second
tomorrow.
season. Please.
I just thinking since it's like 2016, it's 2020, that was 4 years ago. Haven't announced a second season. I don't think it's there.
Well, it took them like 4 years to get us a second season of Attack on
I mean,
Titan,
that's
so
true.
maybe.
That's true.
But then again, the studio who does Attack on Titan is really small, or at least they were whenever they were starting
Yeah.
out. So
I mean,
I don't know. Just give me a second season, please, Silverlink. I'll do anything. Look, okay, I'll sacrifice my firstborn if you give me this. Just please.
well, it makes me really curious as to how far they got in the web manga. Because there's 13 volumes in the web manga, 12 episodes.
So,
like
13 volumes, multiply that by 2, because an episode of anime is typically about 3 chapters of manga.
Right.
And most volumes typically are comprised of 6 to 7 chapters.
Yeah.
So, there's hope for a second season.
There is hope for a second season. There should be enough content, but it makes me curious, and I'm going to have to see if I can find the web manga and see if the story does continue and what the story like is afterwards. Because Tanaka-Kun Is Always Listless. It does have a linear story, but it also doesn't have a linear story. Very similar to kind of like Are You Lost from last week, because it doesn't seem to age. You know, it does go through seasons, but they don't ever like graduate as a school day, or there's not like really a continuous plot from episode to episode. It's just those are your like tropes. That's what happens. These are your characters, and we're just going to follow them. I mean, it's a very, very, very typical slice of life. Yeah, I don't know. It makes me interested to see what they could possibly like, if there is a linear story of the webtoon, or anyway.
Well, it's one of those things to where like I'll actually disagree with you on this one, because I think it is actually very linear to an extent. Like it does follow their everyday lives through school, so I mean it's a lot of repetition and whatnot, but episodes do take place like over a day or 2 days.
That's true.
And it's a lot of like the next episode, they'll still reference stuff that happens in the past one. So it is very linear, but it still takes place like in one school year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that is true.
It's linear, but it's
like,
like
not.
Like it's odd.
Yeah, because character developments happen and those character developments do continue and they do reference those character developments. But there's not like a plot point that continues through
Yeah, there's
necessarily.
no
It's
like
more,
arc.
it's
Like there's no story
relationships.
arc. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
character building and relationships, which this one had probably one of the most heartwarming
It's so
like
cute.
character developments for the main character ever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
episode 11, whenever it was.
Yeah.
It's just like,
It's cute. Yeah.
kawaii.
So anyway, I guess I'll give a rundown. Oh wait, no, the OP. I do want to talk about the OP before we give a rundown of the description of the anime. The OP is the best thing I've ever listened to. It's so good.
Oh yeah, 100% agree. It's still like the entire time sitting here through this podcast is just going off in my head, and I'm just like, why won't it stop? I mean, I love listening to it, but just make it stop,
No,
please.
like honestly, I've probably played it. Well, I mean, first of all, I watched the anime through twice, so 12 episodes. I never skipped it once. It played 13 times because they also used it in the ending of the last episode. So 26 times just from watching the anime, I've listened to it. That being said, I've also played it on stream 3 times and listened to it on YouTube probably another 20 times. Even probably, maybe
So
not even that. Like, I might have listened to it more than that, genuinely.
I'm gonna need you to stop wimping out on stream and just leave that on repeat
I
because
might
I
do,
love it. I think
genuinely.
everyone would love it. Like by the time your 3 hour stream is over, I think everybody would just be like chanting along in the chat, or at least I do anyway.
Oh my god, like I can't
How much of the messages that I spammed you with was just me just going along with the OP?
I can't even get like it just the first time I watched the show, the first episode, I played it. The opening scene of the first episode is beautiful. Like it's genuinely beautiful. I wasn't expecting to go into this anime for beautiful artwork. And I go in there, and first episode plays a bit. It's Tanaka is lying on in a green field under a tree, and it's just him asleep with the breeze blowing, and it's beautiful. And that's how the whole anime starts. Fantastic way to start an anime. And then there's a little joke, and then it kicks off with this OP, and oh my god, I smiled from ear to ear. It was like cherubs in my brain. It makes me so happy. This song makes me so happy, and I don't know why, what it did to me to make me so happy, but every time I listen to it, I smile from ear to ear. I look like a freaking Cheshire cat with how big my grin is.
But I mean, like you're not wrong with it though. Like it's like it just pulls you in, and you just can't help but smile. But here's the thing, okay? I didn't tell you about this
Oh.
because I didn't want to hear your reaction.
Oh.
But we've done nothing but go on about the OP. We haven't given the ending enough credit.
That's true.
But like, here's the reason I prefaced it with this: the first ending I fell asleep. like it relaxed me because okay, so she talked about the OP. The ED for it is just him lying in a field of grass, and it's like very heavily CGI'd grass, so it looks very realistic.
Hmm.
And the art style for the show is very like I would almost label it as beautifully simplistic, I
Yeah, it
guess.
actually reminded me a lot of Haikyuu when I was watching it, especially in the characters' faces.
But it was like it's just very simple,
Hmm.
but it's still
Hmm.
beautiful in its own way.
Yeah.
Like it's very nicely
Hmm.
done. And then so you got him in just a field of grass, just laying, breeze blowing. You watch the blades of grass just blowing around him. I fell asleep. Like it, and like the ending is very poppy in a
Hmm.
sense, like, but it's just low key poppy,
Yeah.
and just like it's like I don't think it got enough credit because it was wonderful and it fit like the OP and the ED for the show just fit
Yeah.
amazingly.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And usually it's one or the other. Like one might feel a little bit out of place, but it just, I don't know. I can't describe it. They're just so amazing and just fit so well.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Completely agree. Um, yeah, they're both fantastic. I would watch the show just for the OP and ED. I mean, the show
And
is
I've watched
fantastic.
some shows like solely for
Hmm.
the OP, domestic girlfriend. You are a raging dumpster fire, but your OP is 100% fire, and it's on my workout
Yeah.
playlist. Like it's
I
great.
feel like the OP of this should be my like alarm clock noise to just make me happy when I wake up every morning.
But I don't think you'd wake up.
No, that's true. No, I don't
Like
know,
you would
because the
just
chorus is kind
you'd
of
just be listening to it in your dream, just kind of like
da da
laze it
da da.
along.
Yeah, yeah, no, I can see that. Um, but yeah, anyway, so brief description of the show is basically that Tanaka-kun is our main character. And he and Ota are best friends, and they're at school, they're at high school. And Tanaka-kun is listless, basically. He is as lazy as you could possibly get and always tired. So it's just a slice of life about him and his group of friends and him being asleep all of the time. I'm pretty sure he's asleep more in this anime than he is awake. Um, and uh, and his best friend Ota and a couple of other characters that come in um, that just hang around him, and it's just about him being sleepy. That's all it is. It's a very
he
sweet anime.
he's so sleepy. Okay, so two things
Mhm.
I gotta talk about. One, Ota is an enabler.
He is such an enabler. He's not even just an enabler. He's basically his mother.
Yeah, like literally his mother. Like Ota carries Tanaka around.
Oh yeah.
Like Tanaka won't get up to go to lunch
No.
or go home, anything. So he literally just tucks him under his arm like a bag
Yep.
and just carries him
Yep.
everywhere.
Yep. Yep.
It's great. And then the second thing I gotta mention, brother complex.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's the one complaint I had for the show, but it's a complaint. It's a blatant complaint.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'd say that was probably my one big thing about it as well. So Tanaka-kun has got a younger sister called, why can't I remember her name?
Was it Reno?
I think so.
Rino?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I wrote
Yeah,
it down
Reno.
somewhere, but I have like pages of notes. Um, yeah, she does have a brother complex. But she has a brother complex, but it's not as bad as I've definitely seen before. And it's not like
I don't know. It's pretty there. Like
it's pretty there, but she's not in love with him romantically. She just wants to be the closest to him, and that's the big thing. Is like this. It's not an incesty brother complex. It's just she wants to be the closest person to him.
yeah. It's like a non-violent yandere
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. Nearly non-violent, nearly not non-violent, should I say?
She does want to kick the shit out of Ota, but
Yeah.
Ota is massive.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. That's probably my one thing about the show as well.
Yeah, like
Um,
I don't think there's anything else I could complain about. Like it's very tropey. Like
yeah,
the show has just about every anime trope imaginable, but it works for it though because it does it in adorable ways to the point to where you can't fault it.
yeah. Well, I have to say that I think this show probably has one of the most adorable main characters of all time. Tanaka is like a little cat in the sun. Like the way that they animate him doing things, just like leaning on his chair and stuff, it makes you just want to give him a blanket and a hot water bottle and send him off to sleep. Like he is the perfect drawing for this character. They get like he's a teddy bear. He's adorable. You want to bundle him up and baby him. So I completely get where Ote comes from with his enabling because you just do. Like he's so freaking cute.
He's definitely like once the year's over, we'll probably do like our rankings or whatever of everything that we've covered and everything we've watched for the year. Ota's definitely like runner for best friend of the year.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
Alto is
no
like
joke, like 100% best friend. Like I need somebody like this in my life.
yeah,
Or
most
better yet,
dependable
I
person.
just wish I could be Tanaka because I need a nap.
Yeah,
Like I
no,
realize I started off the podcast like I need a nap after watching this, but you
no,
do. You just watch it, and a lot of our stuff you need snacks while you watch it. This you need a blanket.
yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. This I would recommend getting some tea, something like chamomile or mint or something. Get yourself a warm blanket, like take it out the dryer, you know, that kind of like cozy warm. Put on some fuzzy socks and and put this on and just snuggle up and just take a breather. That's what this anime is. I mean, you will definitely laugh. You will laugh out loud. This anime is very funny, but a good majority of it is also just allowing you to just relax. And I love it for that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I laughed more watching this show. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I laughed more watching this than I did the last two shows we covered combined.
Really?
I
Really?
did. Like I I love this so much. I think it was just because like I can relate to the main
Mm-hmm.
character in this one
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Like I mean, you saw like I did nothing but blow you up for the
That's
past
true.
3 days over this. Like obviously I adored this.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. I did hear that you said that you think that it might be up there close around your top 10.
Like I don't know why, but I enjoyed this to the point to where I think it very well could have broken into my top 5 or top 10
Yeah.
favorite anime of all time. Like it's everything about it just like struck well with me. I mean,
Yeah.
minus that one complaint about the brother complex, like I can't I can't find anything wrong with the
Yeah.
show in my
Yeah.
opinion. Like there's nothing like it's just almost flawless. It's great. Like solid A. Can't give it an A plus, but solid A.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I agree with you. It's definitely up there for me as well. I think that it doesn't take itself seriously, which is the same as Are You Lost in the Daily Lives of High School Boys. But it does it in a way that's different from those two. Like those two are trying to be very funny. They're trying to be laugh out loud funny. And this doesn't feel like that same energy. It comes across as just casually funny. And for some reason that makes it funnier.
Mm,
It's not saying that those other two are trying too hard because they're definitely not. They're just a different form of comedy. You know, you watch those when you actively want to laugh. I feel like you watch this when you just want to sit down and watch something and you stumble across it like we did and it cracks you up. Like it's not something I wouldn't pick it out from like a list of 5,000 anime or whatever if I wasn't reviewing something and had to pick an anime, you know? It wouldn't be something that I would go onto my list and see and look at the cover and look at the description and think, I want to watch that right now. I have to watch it, I have to watch it, I have to watch it. And I think that's what makes it special, is that it's secret. It's like a little, although it's not, it's obviously highly rated and people know about it, but it feels like it's a secret.
because it wasn't like I think the show came out whenever I was just getting back into anime.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was on Crunchy a lot, I was on Funimation a lot,
Yeah.
and like I didn't hear about this,
Yeah.
and I never would have heard of it if it wasn't for Blue. And then like it's I don't know. Like it's just so good. Like I'm just
Yeah.
gonna sit here and gush over it. It's so good. That's all
Yeah.
I could say. Like
Yeah.
I'm here for the best reviewing discussion ever. It's so good.
It's so good. Yeah, you know, and I completely agree. And slice of life is my favorite genre of anime. Yeah, it's my favorite genre. In not just in anime, not just in manga, but in like movies and stuff. Like some of my favorite movies are movies where nothing happens, like The Breakfast Club. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Nothing happens. Um,
Mhm.
I love those kinds of movies. I love those kind of books. I love those kind of anime and manga. And this is high. I've seen a lot of slice of life anime, and this is high because it genuinely it's funny, it's heartwarming, it's sweet, it's stupid, it just is good. It's just good.
100%. It's
Mm.
wholesome. It's great. Like I don't know. I feel like we've expensed a lot of like adjectives over a lot of the shows that we've seen, and it's like it's just so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I feel like we went ham with everything that we've picked so far, and then we come across this one. It's just like, well, shit. Like, it's another really good one.
I know. What have we been doing? I feel like we need to go and actively search for a really bad anime because recently everything that we've been doing is just episode after episode of us just gushing about how good things are and not actually saying anything worth critiquing about any of them.
And it's like, I've tried, like, with the last ones, like, I legitimately critiqued them and rated them.
Yeah.
But, like, this one, like, if I had to sit down and rate it, like, it gets an 8.5.
Yeah.
Like, it rates super high. Like,
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, can we skip Kiki's Delivery Service and try to find something terrible so we
I
can
know.
like
I feel like we need
legitimately
to.
tear a show apart for
Yeah.
next week?
I know.
Which, by the way, Kiki's Delivery Service has been moved to next week because I live in America and I need a VPN to be able to watch Studio Ghibli films.
Oh,
So we
America.
promise it's coming.
Um.
Look here. You're American too. You're just maple American.
What? Americans dipped in maple syrup become Canadians.
That's it. You have been baptized in the syrup of maple.
Okay, that's funny.
I'm so sorry.
You're gonna get so many Canadians angry at you for that. We are our own country.
You are, but you're on the continent of North America.
So does that make all South American and North American Americans American? America?
I mean, we're all Americans.
So what are you, an American squared?
My brain. This is too much for me to comprehend.
Too much. Okay, well, I tell you what.
I need a nap.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely after watching this. But anyway, I think that's where I'm gonna probably put up the spoiler warning. I think we completely forgot to put up a spoiler warning last episode, so I apologize to anyone who didn't get the spoiler wall and did get something spoiled for you. I'm sorry. I will try and remember to put up the spoiler wall. But yeah, spoiler warning. From now on, we are going to go into discussing episodes and like more intense plot points and stuff. So, yeah.
To be fair, the second we say you should go watch it, spoilers are off at that point.
Yeah. I think that was our opening line of this podcast. I think it was just like, hi, nice to have you back again. You should go watch this anime. Thanks. Bye.
Yes, 100%.
That's basically the TLDR notes of this whole podcast.
It's like BnB anime, TLDR. Go watch what we're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, so the first episode is just called Tanaka-Kun and Otakun. And I throughout this in my notes, some of the lines that they use, whoever did the sub translation of this did a fantastic job throughout this, like throughout the translation, because there were a couple of times when they translated things that were just so well done. Like there was a what episode? I think probably around episode 8 or 9, there was a moment where Tanaka-kun says to Shirishi, I think is her name, Shiraishi, probably, and
Shiraishi.
Yeah, Shiraishi, and he says to her something along the lines of, "You're seductive." Oh no, I mean productive. And it's really good because obviously he doesn't say that in Japanese, but the way that they did that to still get the wordplay, I thought was fantastic. So I just want to do a quick shout out to whoever the translators were. That was a really, really good job on doing those little word plays, because there's a few of them and a few lines where the quotes are just fantastic. So throughout my notes, I've just put little quotations whenever I found something that made me particularly laugh. I just wrote down the quote. And for the first episode, I have one that made me laugh, and this just sets the tone for the whole show. And it's just, thanks for retrieving Tanaka.
It's because that's literally all the show is. Hey, where's Tanaka? Alta.
Yeah.
Go get him.
And it really does set the tone, and it shows you the relationship between Ota and Tanaka. It shows you how careless the rest of the classmates are. Like, they just know that that's Tanaka and he needs to be retrieved. Like, they've given up a long time ago, clearly. Like, it just sets
Even the
tone.
teacher. Even the teacher is 100% giving up on him.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, so the first episode is just basically you getting introduced to all of the characters. Tanaka's always tired, but his arms go numb when he sleeps on them, so he decides that he wants to try hard in the gym to get fitter so that he can sleep more comfortably. Yeah, that's when you. So that's in the scene. He's going to try hard in the gym. Ota and there's two other characters. They're soccer players. I don't remember their names. They do get introduced at one point, but I can't really remember their names.
They have names.
Yeah, they're secondary characters. I'm sure it did say on their Wikipedia, but I didn't write it down. And they're just the two soccer players. That's kind of how they're known. Ota grabs the badminton racket and hits the shuttlecock, which I believe Americans call birdies.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So hits the shuttlecock or birdie, and it flies past them and smashes into the ground. He's giant. That's one thing about Ota is that he's really big. He's like taller than all other characters and really strong. He's obviously carrying Tanaka around everywhere. But yeah, so he's big and strong, and he looks kind of like a delinquent in his face. And he hits the birdie really hard, and it smashes into the ground, and the other guys get scared, and then Tanaka goes, I want to try too, and he hits it, and instead of hitting it, his racket gets flown across. So they put him to sleep in the corner, because they're like, you can't play with us anymore, you're going to kill somebody. So they put him to sleep, and he finds two shuttlecocks that they had spare, and he grabs them, and for some reason, puts them in his hair. It's never explained. But anyway, so
I that's where I fell in love with the show. Whenever they found him, he just looked like a ladybug with the shuttlecock,
it's
with the
so
birdies
funny.
just in his hair. Like it, oh, it's so good.
And that's one of the moments where I was like, okay, this main character is adorable. Because it's things like that he does that you completely relate to. It's those moments of you get the urge to do something really stupid, but as people, our brains go, nah, that's stupid, I'm not going to do it. But he doesn't have that, he doesn't have that wall to stop. So then he ends up doing things like that, where he takes the two shuttlecocks and just puts them in his hair and has them as like little antenna. And then they all come over looking for a spare one because Ota slammed it out the window. The one that they were using, and they don't want to wake him up because he looks so peacefully asleep. So then Ota goes and grabs the one that he smashed out of the window, and it's like, it's so stupid and funny and it's just heartwarming and sweet, and I don't know, it makes you happy.
Very much so. Very much so. So good.
Yeah, definitely. So then, my next note is just perfect nap conditions. Breeze falls off chair.
Slam.
Slam, yeah. So basically this one is, per episode, there's normally about three scenes, three kind of like plot points. Although some of them, especially later on, end up being one plot point per episode. But quite often, especially in the earlier ones, there's like three little stories that happen per episode. So that gym one was the first story. The second story is Tanaka-kun and Ota-kun are in class, and their teacher has given them like silent study or self-study time. And he can't fall asleep because he moved his desk, and there are two girls that are blocking the breeze. And so that's when Ota-kun realizes that Tanaka-kun's nap conditions are actually quite specific. And and then the girls end up getting up. He falls asleep, but he falls asleep back on his chair and then ends up just falling off of his chair and collapsing into a pile on the floor. Um, Another thing that I want to mention about this show is that the little breaks for where the adverts get placed are hilarious. They're not just they're not just like a screen or like a picture of like, I don't know, just sometimes it's just like a picture or like a chibi version of them or something, like dancing or something, and that's just where it ends. Like, they're tiny little skits, like 3-second skits, and they're so good. They're really funny.
Not only that, but like the scene transitions of whenever Ota is carrying Tanaka, like across the screen, and the screen drags with it.
It's funny. Yeah.
Oh, I love it so much. Good. Like, it's adorable.
It's
I
really
don't
good.
know. Like, you could tell, like, this is a passion project. Or if it's not, like, it's gotta be. Because there's just so much, like, little nuances here that you don't get in other shows.
Yeah, okay, another one is there are little side stories that if you pay attention to, that the secondary characters are talking about. And then they go through multiple episodes. So there's one where
like the nail clippers?
Yeah, you're gifting your boyfriend nail clippers, and it's just like, huh? And then like a few episodes later it's like, how were the nail clippers? And it's like, they were okay. And it's like, it continues on tiny little stories from characters that you're never introduced to. You never like hear about them or anything. They're just background noise, but the stories are there and they continue, and it's such a good touch.
Mm-hmm. It really is. Like, and that's another one of those things where you don't get that in a lot of shows. Like, they might, like, typically if something is legitimately subbed, then it means something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or, like, because typically they won't sub the background noise or, like, background voices. It'll just be murmuring or whatever. Yeah. But the fact that they did that, but not only did they do that, but they carried it on.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a nice little nod to things.
Yeah, it makes me curious, though, because I feel like they even went a step further with that and slightly altered the animation in places as well. I don't know how much of that is true, but I did notice that on the supermarket signs, it said in English supermarket, and I don't know if it did in the original, and they just didn't change it because I do know Japanese uses a lot of romanization, but I don't know if they changed that themselves or if it was just done in English to begin with. But there are times in other places where you can see that they have gone in to the animation and written things in English as well, and quite often they'll just put like the text next to it or by it, which they do in this as well. But there are times when they've actually changed the imagery, and they did a really, really good job on that. So then after that, Tanaka-kun is having a day where he's doubly listless. He when he walks into school in the morning, when he's sitting at his desk, Ota realizes that he has got his head resting on 2 hands. He's not eating his lunch. And then when they have piano, when they have a music class, he's playing the piano. For the class, and he changes it from the regular key to a minor key and makes it like really spooky, and it's supposed to be this happy song about their house, or like their home, and ends up being really spooky, and the 2 soccer characters are just like, it's gotten so dark, my home is gone, my home is missing. It's very funny. And then at the end of the lesson, Tanaka's like asleep on the piano keys, and the teacher comes around and goes to like wipe a piece of lint or something off of his cheek, and he just shrieks. He just, like, the caption is just scream.
Like, anytime Tanaka, like, moves quickly in this show, like, you know something is wrong.
And he doesn't move quickly like a normal person. He goes from sloth to frickin' having a
like the
possession.
Flash.
Like, he's...
Yeah, like, it's instantaneous. Like, one of the last episodes, I'm sure Blue will get into it, but, like, he moved so fast.
It's so funny. Okay, so I'm not going to get into all of the little stories throughout this because there are so many good ones and I want you to experience them for the first time and laugh at the jokes. So if you are one of these people that listens to this before you've watched the shows, I know you're out there, I see you. I'm not going to spoil everything because there are certain things that I definitely want you to see for the first time. But I know what you're talking about, Brad, and I will get into that one because it made me laugh so much.
Oh yeah, I died. I was cooking dinner whenever that happened, and I lost it.
It's nuts. I mean, yeah. So then Tanaka-kun, after that, the rest of the guys are like, "Oh my god, what's going on with him? He's so weird." And he goes to get a drink from the water fountain, and he just has the water hitting the side of his face rather than going into his mouth.
Sugoi.
He just stands up with the side of his head like dripping wet because his face has been in the water fountain, not his mouth at all. And Otakun's just like, as you're being extra listless today, I'm not going to lend you my handkerchief to support you. And so he just walks away with this dripping wet face. And so then the boys meet without Tanaka. They meet together, and one of the soccer players is like, that's what it is. All of this, the way he's acting, the way that he is, it's not that he's having a double this day. It's that he's in love. And they're like, wait, he's in love? And they all start like trying to figure out if he's in love or not. And then Otakun goes up to him at the end of the day, and he's like, I support you, my friend. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. And like he's given off this thing of just like I'm here, and then he's like, come on, when your heart's heavy, let's go get ice cream. And Tanaka's like, no, I don't want to get ice cream. And Ota's like, let's go get ice cream. He's like, I know, I don't want to go get ice cream. He's like, your heart's heavy, we'll go get ice cream. And he grabs him and he pulls him, and as he pulls him away, his bag falls on the floor and his notebook falls out, and it's just covered in sticky notes that tell him, that's like, go to the dentist, get to the dentist, go to the dentist, don't come home until
you can do it. You got this.
And then Ota's like putting all of the puzzle pieces together, and it's like, had the water on the side of his face, panicked when the teacher touched his cheek, didn't want to eat any food, had his chin resting on both hands. He's like, you need to go to the dentist. The whole day where they were figuring out what the heck was going on was just because he didn't want to go to the dentist and he needed to.
But can you blame the guy, though? Nobody likes going to the dentist.
No, I hate going to the dentist, so I completely feel him. But it's very, very funny. So then episode 2 is Apprentice Application, and this is where you get introduced to kind of our number one secondary character, I'd say, other than like Otakun, who's the main sporting character. And that's Miyano. So Tanaka-kun starts off the day by going to the shrine and threatening the gods for a peaceful day. And he meets up with Otakun, and they are walking to school. And as they're walking through the school hallways, Otakun's like, I didn't know that like, why would you pray for a peaceful day? Your days are always peaceful. Like, what are you going on and threatening the gods? Like, what's all that about? And Tanaka-kun's like, you never know when something weird's gonna happen. You need to be on your toes. And Arthur's like, oh, what's weird that could happen? And Tanaka's like, oh, well, a voice could come down from above and say, you are the chosen one.
Now.
Yeah, you're the chosen one. You need to save the world. And then he's like, and then a little voice squeaks from behind them. And it says, I want to be your apprentice. And they turn around and they don't see anything. And they look down and there's this chibi, basically, and that's Miyano, who's like half the size of Ota. She's like nearly half the size of Tanaka, and then Ota's like a foot above Tanaka. So she's tiny. And she's the most energetic thing in the entire anime. Like, her movements, there's one moment where she's angry at Echizen, who's her best friend, She's mad at Edgerton and she's hitting the desk with her arms out straight. And I'm not kidding. That animation is the funniest thing I've ever seen. I lost my shit. I lost it.
Like, I think I sent Blue a screenshot of that. And I was just like, this is the most adorably angry thing I have ever seen.
I cried. I was laughing so hard. Actually cried. But anyway, her big thing is that she wants to be Tanaka's apprentice. She is so energetic and hardworking and passionate and bubbly, and she wants to be as listless as Tanaka. And so she basically forces her way into being his apprentice. And then has a miserable time because she can't have strawberry milk. Because he has green tea and she loves strawberry milk. And then when he's like, oh, I like strawberry milk too, and drinks strawberry milk, she gets mad at him because he's so indifferent in his facial features about strawberry milk because he has the exact same expression.
I wish I could care so little to the point to where, like, I could drink or eat anything and just keep the same face.
Unless it's too much of a bother to do anything with. Like fish or beans or anything like that.
Or salad.
Difficult. Any fruit you have to peel. And so then, oh, this is another one of my favorite bits. Tanaka then is talking to Ota, and he is like, you know what I want? I want to live in a space where everything's in a 75 centimeter radius of me, so I can reach everything. And Ota's like imagining it, and Tanaka's imagining it, and it's like this glorious, like, tiny apartment, with like a toilet that comes out of the wall, and a bed that flips over it as a table, and like all this cool stuff. And Ota-kun pictures it, and it's just a prison cell. And he turns to Tanaka, and he's just like, no, you can't go to prison, don't do it. And Tanaka's just like, what are you even thinking about right now? But then anyway, so Miyano is like so downhearted about the fact that nothing's going well with her apprenticeship. She's just too energetic for it, and she's adorable. So she decides that she's so hardworking. She's never failed at anything before. She's never given up on anything before. So she is gonna write a freaking massive research paper on listlessness, and it's like the size of an encyclopedia. Like, it's huge. On how to be non-bothered, she writes an entire encyclopedia.
Like, it's a 100-page, like, packet. Tanaka flips through the first few pages, then he's like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
and it crushes her.
Oh, it's so sad, but also it's so funny because she just doesn't get it at all. She does not get it. Like her first thing, when she's first introduced, she's like, okay, I'll try my best at your apprenticeship. And he's like, no, don't try your best. Just don't do anything. And she just goes, okay, I'll do my best at not doing my best.
And I like how she asks him, she's like, I want to be your apprentice. And as soon as she says that, it cuts to the OP. And the second it cuts back to the show, he's just like, no. And she's like not even bothered in the slightest. She's like, let me be your apprentice.
In the softball, like a fastball, knuckleball thing with it as well.
Oh yeah, like the baseball references are real because she's like, I want to be your apprentice. And it's like curveball. And Tanaka's just like, no. And it's like four-seam fastball.
Yeah. It's great. It's really great. But anyway, so they end up finding out that the reason why that she wants to be listless is because there's somebody that she likes and she wants to be a mature woman for them. And they basically end up saying, you're fine the way you are, you know, it's a really sweet, like, oh, we prefer you this way, and the person that likes you probably likes you that way too. And then Tanaka-kun goes to the Izumo Shrine, but he's gonna go there to threaten them again and tell them off because he was so mad about the fact that she wanted to be his apprentice after he had threatened them in the morning. But then he goes to get on the wrong train, but then Ota saves him. It's another funny little moment. There's loads of those tiny little jokes throughout it that are so funny, that are probably like 15 seconds long. And they're so well done, and they hold that little story all the way through. And that's one of my favorite ones, was him threatening the gods and then, like, being mad about it and wanting to go back at the end of the day to, like, tell them off again.
And to get his money back. I think he tells Elsa, he's like, I want a refund.
Yeah, it's really good.
And then threatens him, he's like, I'm going to tell your boss.
Yeah, I'm really going to tell your boss next time. It's really good. But then Miana, all of a sudden the next day at school, she's suddenly masters listlessness. Like, is a master of it. She's on a level that Tanaka can't even dream of being. Like, he doesn't understand what she's going on about. She's perfect. And until but like she has a moment where she says goodbye to the strawberry milk. She thanks it for being a good friend and then wishes it well, and like then says goodbye to it. Like, it's nuts. It's insane. But she's like the perfect listlessness master. And it goes on for like a while. She's just like, it's just a montage of her being listless. Until she goes to walk under a wet paint sign. But the boys, because it's like caution tape, but it's like wet paint tape. But she's so small that she goes to walk under it and she didn't even see until the boys stop her. And they're just like, I'll move it down because it was too high. She obviously didn't see it. And that's when she comes to a realization, because the reason why she's being so listless all day was because that all of the mascots from all of the regions around Japan, she was so concerned about them. She thought they were robots that were trying to take over Japan because they couldn't be children that were in them, but they were too small to be regular people. But then her walking under the wet paint sign and them commenting on her height makes her realize that they could just be short adults. And then she just goes back to normal. And it turns out that she was just stressing over that the whole time. And then she doesn't realize that she was being listless at all and goes to like talk to the other two, and they're like, yeah, you were even better than Tanaka. And she's so upset about it that she's like, I need to go find something else to stress over. I'm gonna work so hard at finding something to stress over.
And so the reason I found this so funny is because I could kind of relate to this episode on a personal level of whenever she first gets introduced and they both like look straight over her head. So in 7th grade, I went to science class one day and the teacher was late coming to class. And so I poke my head out the door and I look to my left, and let's call the teacher Miss Jones. So I looked to the left and I was like, Miss Jones isn't here yet. Then she's like, yeah, I am. And I look down. So this, I swear, in 7th grade, I was probably like 5'8", 5'9", I'm assuming. So, like, this lady was short. Like, now I absolutely tower over her. But even then, like, she was so short that I looked right over the top of her head. I was like, I guess she's not here today. So it's a running joke for the rest of the year. Just be like, where's Miss Jones at?
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Oh.
So then episode 3 is just a girl of contrast, Echizen-san.
I do have one thing to say here really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of every episode, Tanaka is writing out the end title cards. And he gets lazy with it. And so he'll be like writing out the hiragana or whatever. There'll just be a huge streak down the page of where he got lazy with it. But on like the last 2 or 3 episodes, like he might have written like one character. Like like every episode, he gets progressively more and more lazy with the end title cards. It's just such a nice little subtle
It's
piece.
so good. There's
It's just,
so
I
many of
loved it
those.
so much.
Hmm.
Like, watch it to the very end, like through the EP, because that episode preview it's such a nice little addition to the episodes.
Like they thought of everything with this one. It's so well done. Um, but yeah, the start of episode 3 is just them having lunch. It's the fish deboning thing, which I do want to get into. I want to talk about it, but there's so much to cover that I think I'll just kind of like skip that one and let you go watch it for yourself. It's a good joke. It's very funny. Um, I just love that Otto-kun realizes that Tanaka is on power saving mode all the time.
To the point to where whenever he overeats, he dies.
But it's not even that he overate, he just ate one full meal as opposed to getting lazy halfway through and ending.
It's not like he didn't even get overcharged, like he short circuited.
It's so stupid. But yeah, so Echizen is Otto's childhood friend and a delinquent. You can't see, but I'm putting up little quotations around that. She's a delinquent. And she challenges Tanaka to fight, basically. And he's like, um, uh, yeah, I'm confident about any fight that I partake in. And she's like, huh? And he's like, yeah, confident that I'm gonna lose because I have no motivation. And he's so listless that he manages to make anyone around him that wants to challenge him to a fight feel upset about fighting him and not fight. So instead, she challenges him to a game of, I suppose, so kind of Japanese checkers. I'm not familiar with the game.
I'm not either.
But she ends up winning. But the checkers are black and white, same as like the regular checkers. And she ends up winning the game. But Tanaka has the white checkers. And then when she wins, she's like, ha ha ha, I won, I am the best. And then Tanaka looks down, he just goes, but I'm satisfied. And then it zooms over the board, and he's just placed all of his checkers into the kanji that means white. So he wasn't playing the game at all. He was just trying to spell out white from the kanji because he had white checkers. It's so stupid. Yeah, so she challenges him to a couple of other things as well. And then ends up finding out that Echizen is Miyano's friend, and that's why she wanted to scope Tanaka out, because Miyano has been like obsessed with Tanaka recently, wanting to be his apprentice, that kind of stuff. And you find out that Echizen loves cute things and can't eat cookies because they're too adorable. And Miyano ends up giving her a cookie, and Echizen can't eat it because it's too adorable and too cute. And then Miyano gets really angry at her because she didn't eat the cookie and it grew moldy. And so they end up having a fight, which is when you get the slam desk moment of her being so angry.
And I just realized it during this episode, but so the trailer that I made for ReZero of the Baka compilation, I think her calling Echizen Baka is in it.
I think so too.
So
I think it is.
It all comes full circle.
It's then so then they have like I can't even get through this, it's too funny. My stomach actually hurts just going over this. That's a stupid slamming on the desk moment. I'm never gonna get over that. You have to watch that episode. Guys, watch episode 3 just for that moment. It's so good. So anyway, it's discovered that the person that Miyano likes is Echizen. And then they end up becoming friends again. It's really, really cute. And at the end of it, they end up getting the machoco cookies, which is another joke that I'm gonna leave for you to watch yourself, and not gonna spoil, because that's a good one.
All I literally had to do was just send Blue machaco in all caps to get her to lose it.
Oh my god, it's so good. So episode 4 is Shiraishi-san's secret. And so Shiraishi-san is perfect. She's the class president. She's loved by everyone. She has gorillas that follow her around that are like the wrestling captain, the like all of the sports captains that are completely obsessed with her. And they're like her bodyguards. And Ota in the morning nearly runs into her whilst she's carrying Tanaka, and she drops all of her papers that she needs to student council. The bodyguards end up stepping on them when they're like getting all aggressive towards Tanaka because she fell over, but he didn't actually hit her. She just fell over out of surprise. So then she dismisses her bodyguards, and she like touches them, and they run away like giddy schoolgirls because they got touched by her.
And as they're running away, they're just like, "She touched me!" and it animates them as giant bears. And so as she puts her hand on one, she's like, no, guys, like, they're my classmates. It's okay. And the longer she has her hand on one of them, like, his face just gets redder and redder and redder to the point where they just run away. It's like, she actually touched me.
Yeah, the two are touching him as he's running, just being like, second hand touch, second hand touch.
And this is another one of my favorite moments too, because it was the stereotypical like running late for class with like bread in your mouth. But Tanaka has it in his mouth while Ota's carrying him. It was such a clever addition.
Oh, God. I think this is genuinely the funniest anime I've ever watched. Like, I'm crying.
And that's it for this week's episode.
Like, it's just continuously so funny.
And so, since they knocked her over, they ended up screwing up her handouts because she's the class president, so she has to go get all the handouts and everything. And so, this is probably my favorite little one-liner from the whole show. So, they offer to help her fix the handouts that they screw up. So they go to the little office room to go reprint the handouts. And so they're all talking about computer skills because Ota notices a typo.
I forgot about this.
Ota notices a typo on the printout, so he like clicks on it and types it up really quick. And Shiraishi was just like, "Oh, you got some computer skills." And then Tanaka was just like, "I also have some computer skills." And both of them just look at him and they're amazed. They're like, "What? You actually know how to use a computer?" And so he's like, "I have the perfect use for one of these." So he takes the laptop, closes it, sticks it up his shirt. Then he just goes, "Bulletproof."
No, that wasn't that funny when watching it. Like, it was funny when watching it, but it wasn't that funny. But hearing you talk about it just killed me. Because it's so stupid.
And he's so proud of it too. Like, he looks so accomplished.
And it's just Shiraishi's face of just being like, "You did your best. Good try."
Yeah. like like the moment where the character's faces just go blue and all you hear is ack. It's one of those moments.
Okay, but basically, in that episode, the main point is that she sends them home because Tanaka gets sleepy after she gives him a macaron, and he gets sleepy, so he's just stapling the air when he's supposed to be stapling papers. And so she sends
Macaron Sisho.
she sends them home, and then she she then has that moment where you think that she's actually going to be a really evil character, because all of a sudden she gets really quiet and just walks over to the copy machine and puts her hands down and the musical stops, and you think, oh my god, she's going to be so evil. And she just goes, ah! And she unrolls her skirt, which she's had rolled up to be a normal length, and it makes it like below her knees. She puts her bangs up, so she's got like a pineapple on the top of her head. She takes her contacts out and puts glasses on, and it just makes her eyes disappear. It's just like glasses. And she takes off her ribbon, her bow, and she just slobs out. She's like, finally, alone at last. And then Tanaka is carried back in by Ota because he forgot his bag, and Ota just goes, oh, grabs Tanaka's bag and goes, sumimasen, and then just leaves. And she's just, her face is just...
It's another one with...
Yeah. And then the next day she's just running around following them the whole time because she thinks that, like, they're gonna tell everyone about the fact that she is like a completely different person when she's alone, and she's like a complete loner and a dog. But Ota didn't even realize that it was the same person, and Tanaka didn't see because he was asleep. So then they end up having a conversation about it. She ends up like realizing that like people don't recognize her, and so she goes walking through the hallway as like her slobby self, and Tanaka and Ota are walking down the hallway, and Tanaka, who's awake this time, says, "Shirashi?" And she goes, "Yeah," and then she's like, "Oh shoot, you just discovered my secret." And then she has to confess to them, and then there's a really heartwarming moment of, you know, you can relax a bit. It's kind of nice that you aren't always perfect. It makes you like shine less so I can actually look at you, kind of thing. And then she ends up kind of developing a bit of a crush on Tanaka because he was the only one that recognized her when she was in her like slobby state. And then at the very end of the episode, Ota asks Tanaka how he could tell that it was Shirashi, and he says, because she may have been able to disguise her face, but you can't disguise your boobs. And so he recognized her by her chest size.
And this joke is brought up one more time in the last episode. Oh god. But throughout the whole time, like, from now on, Ota just starts casually referring to her every now and then as Macaroon Shisho. Because the macaroons are so good. He's just like, oh, you're the master.
My stomach actually hurts. We're only on episode 4. Now we're
crying.
Go to episode 5. I know. I've like fully shed tears from this. This is so funny. It's funny. Like, this is a show. Please watch this with friends. Like, if you have the opportunity, or at least discuss it with friends after you've watched it alone. Because it's so much more fun, and it's so much funnier when you're with a group of people. It makes it stupider and funnier, and I don't know, it's great.
It's 3 hours of your time.
Yeah.
You won't regret it.
No, not at all. But yes, so then episode 5 is called Tanaka-Kun's Day. Basically, Tanaka-kun needs to go grocery shopping as requested by his younger sister, but he can't remember what he needs to purchase. So he goes to the store, and he's like, they're looking around, and Ota's with him, and he's like, oh, do you need like food or detergent or whatever? And throughout this whole time, like, Ota is like, being like, oh, you should get chicken breast because it's cheaper and leaner and it's healthier for you, has less fat on it. And he's like talking about all this cool stuff. And there's just like these like grocery shopping women that are just like popping up around the grocery store that are just like hot eyes looking at him, just like, oh my god, he knows so much about grocery shopping. Um, and then Tanaka set a reminder on his phone that goes off. He's like, oh yeah, I set a reminder on my phone that will tell me what I needed to buy. And it's just the katakana pa. So they're just like, okay. And he's like, I guess I got lazy halfway through typing and didn't finish out what it was. So now they have to go through the store trying to find whatever it is they need that starts with pa. Um, and so then they end up buying everything that starts with pa. And as they continue going, Ota is like talking more about the grocery stuff. And there's just this old lady that's just going, I want him to marry into my family. And another one goes, yeah, I have a daughter that would be available for him. And then another one just goes, I want one. Just like, not I want you to marry into my family, not he's a really good guy, not like any of the other things that the other ones were saying, just I want one.
And was that okay? So it's also a running theme throughout the show of Tanaka doesn't have any money, so he's all the time bumming off of Ota for lunch.
Yeah.
So were you like me whenever it came to this scene? Whenever Tanaka was just like, okay, I'm gonna buy everything that starts with the letter P. And whenever we say everything, papaya, Parmesan cheese,
Paprika,
like everything that starts with the letter P that's a cooking ingredient, he bought it. But am I the only one that thought, whenever I watched this, to where I was just like, where did he get the money for all of this?
Right?
To where he could just literally buy everything that started with the letter P?
um, But then, yeah, they it's not sitting right with Ota. He's like, why did his sister get this dork to go pick up everything, to pick up something from the store? It must have been urgent. Like, she must have needed it, like, right away. And they go outside of the store. And there's a pancake truck outside of the store that's last day that it's going to be there. Last day for the pancakes. You need to get pancakes. And Alta's like, oh, it must be that, you know? That's the only reason why she would get him to pick it up now is because it's the last day that it's going to be there. It starts with P. Makes sense. And so they go and buy pancakes. And he's like, oh, and my sister was talking about maybe wanting pancakes the other day, I think. And anyway, so they go to school the next day. And Tanaka smells. He's got an odor about him. And so Ota's like, what's up, Tanaka? Why do you smell funny? And he's like, oh, it turns out it wasn't any of the things that we bought. It wasn't pancakes that my sister wanted. It was pipe cleaner. And my sister got mad at me for spending all that money on things that we didn't need. So she made a pasta with Parmesan cheese, paprika, pepperoni, all of this other stuff on it. And so that's why he smells. So then Shara, she starts wearing her glasses and she's relaxed a little bit, but now she's like full on in love with Tanaka. But then there's a moment where she and Ota are talking in the hallway about who Tanaka's perfect wife would be.
He's like, does Tanaka have a girlfriend? And he's like, no, I don't think so. Why? She's like, does he have someone that he likes? And he's like he starts imagining, like, every time that Tanaka has said, like, Ota can carry him, he cooks for him, he takes care of him, he buys him lunch, then he's like, huh, me.
And they both say it at the same time, like, you, it's you. And after that, Shiraishi just gives up on being his girlfriend. And just says, well, at least I want to be his closest female friend because I know I'm never going to get to be as close to him as Ota. So she's just, like, accepted that they're an old married couple and that she's never going to be as close to him as Ota is. And just settles for being his closest female friend.
And then whenever she gets back to the classroom, she's like, okay, I'm just going to be his closest female friend. Miyano is in there like, Shisho. It's carrying on with everything. And then she has another moment of,
uh, uh, so then she ends up running away, and then Miyano thinks that she wants to be an apprentice too. So she asks if she could be an apprentice. Miyano asks if she could be an apprentice, and Tanaka's just like, no, like, you can't be an apprentice either. Like, what are you doing? And then they have a really sweet moment because she's like, well, can we be friends then? Like, sure. She's just like, can we be friends? And Tanaka's just like, I thought we already were. And it was just kind of sweet. And then, they all end up being being females. They all end up being females.
Dun, dun, dun. Which come the culture festival, Tanaka could be.
Emails. It's emails, not females. They all end up being friends and swap emails. Not, they all end up being females.
And they end up swapping females.
Okay, so episode 6 is called The Sick Tanaka-kun. Basically, Tanaka-kun doesn't use an umbrella because it's too much trouble, so he gets rained on. So then he decides that he's going to stand out in the rain to try and see if he can build a rain barrier. But when that doesn't work, he gets told off by the others, and he ends up walking home. I'm skipping over this quite a bit. There's a lot of detail in here, a lot of really funny jokes, but I'm just loosely going over this because we're already nearly 2 hours into this podcast and we're only halfway through. So please go watch it. It's very, very funny if you haven't been able to tell. But yeah, I'm gonna gloss over quite a few jokes here so that you can really get the full enjoyment out of watching them yourself. But he ends up walking home with Strategy, and they have a really kind of sweet moment together. But then on the way to school the next day, he doesn't use the umbrella again because he spent the entire time trying to dodge the raindrops. It's like the rainy season in Japan. It's not like a light rain. It's a downpour, and he's trying to run between the raindrops. So he doesn't have to go to the effort of putting up his umbrella. Anyway, he ends up getting a cold. And when he has a cold, he can't talk because his throat's so sore. So he starts writing stuff down on a piece of paper. And he ends up forgetting his history textbook. And so he decides to go knock on the classroom next door to go find Echizen and ask to borrow her history textbook. But when he goes to write out Echizen's name, he gets lazy. So he instead erases it and then says, Echizen, you should change your name to either Tanaka or Ota, which is both his and Ota's last names, so you should change your last name. And she takes this as a marriage proposal. And so she's like dying the whole day trying to figure out. It doesn't occur to her that she could say no to both. She just then assumes that she has to choose between them and spends the entire day fretting about who she's going to choose. And it's actually really sweet. You get to see a whole different side of Echizen, and it's very, very cute. And then Echizen, all while she's like freaking out about this, Echizen, the whole time while Echizen was freaking out about it, Tanaka figures out a new game to play, which you don't find out what the game is, but you figure out that he's playing a game under the mask that he's wearing, because obviously he's sick, so he's wearing a mask. But yeah, basically, Edge-sen goes up to the door to talk to them. And this is where I wrote another one of my quotes down. And it just says, "Is thumb wrestling that life-threatening in delinquent society?" um, and I'm just gonna leave that as is. But towards the end of the episode, they end up clearing up that he was just being lazy, and Tanaka and Ota completely misinterpret what she was saying as well, and didn't get at all that she'd interpreted it as a marriage proposal, and so they end up thinking that Tanaka has insulted her last name by basically saying that she should change it, and he didn't realize that she was that attached to her last name, so he apologizes. And but they totally don't get it, and then they end up calling her Echan, 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 Echan. But anyway, so then the next day he comes to school and he's feeling better, and he goes to, and he's not wearing the mask, and then Ota turns to Tanaka and he's like, "Oh, you're feeling better." And Tanaka just turns to Ota. He's like, "Yeah, I'm feeling great." And he's like so high energy, and Ota's just like, "Eh," and it turns out that Tanaka underneath the mask was making faces the entire time, making stupid faces, and his facial muscles had gotten activity and he's like not used to not using them anymore. So and then he's just like, "I'm gonna wear the mask for another day even though I'm not sick again," and he ends up making a really stupid face. It's funny. Okay, episode 7, Tanaka-kun's Valentine's. Tanaka opens a bag, opens his bag on Valentine's Day to find that there are delicious homemade chocolates and a note that's basically like, you know, those magazine clipping notes. It's a magazine clipping note that says, "I'm always watching." And Ota ends up getting some chocolate too, but it's dark chocolate. They spend the whole episode trying to figure out who it was that made the chocolate for Tanaka, because there was like no note other than that. This is where I wrote another one of my quotes. In other words, I'm interested in the erotic, but the process to get there is too much work.
So many great one-liners.
So many. So they're walking home from Valentine's Day after spending the whole day trying to figure out who gave them the chocolates. There's so many good jokes in there. And this is where we meet Rino, who is Tanaka-kun's younger sister. Yeah, she it ended up being her. When they were walking home, a tape recorder fell out of his bag, and they were all freaked out, like, "Oh my god, your bag's bugged! Like, it's sketch." Turns out it was his sister's because she was using it to record her lectures, so she could play it back to her teachers so that they could listen to their own mistakes, not so that she could take better notes. Anyway, Otokun ends up going around Tanaka-kun's house for coffee, and Rino, this is where you discover that Rino really doesn't like Otokun, because she wants to be the closest to Tanaka, and this is where you end up with the big brother, little sister kind of trope. But she was the one that also gave him the dark chocolates, and she was the one who gave her brother the Valentine's Day chocolates. But Tanaka-kun ends up believing himself to be the test subject for the chocolates for the boy that she supposedly likes, whereas she did it because she loves her brother and considers Otokun her rival. There are so many good jokes throughout that episode that I can't even get into, just so many throughout this whole anime. Episode 8 is Otakun's ordeal. Ota didn't show up for school, so Tanaka was asked to take a worksheet to his house. Echizen shows him the way, as he doesn't know, as he was always being carried there and like never actually walked there himself. Echizen ends up helping people the whole way there, and despite her being a delinquent, she's like actually really well respected in the community and like isn't a delinquent at all. Otacon ends up feeling really loved at Tanaka bringing him the worksheet. And the next day, when Otacon comes to school, he reveals that he ended up spraining his ankle because he was helping an old lady. And she insisted that he go to the hospital and stuff, and it took up his day, so that's why he couldn't go to school. Yeah, so then he'll be healing for a week, so he can't like carry Tanaka or anything. So Tanaka decides that he wants to help Otacon, and he tries to pick him up.
No, I think he just visualized trying to pick him up,
Yeah.
and he doesn't even try. Like Ota just gets under his arms, and then there's a few times in this to where like you almost think like it's frozen to buffer.
Yeah.
But it's just Tanaka just stopping what he's doing and then just standing there.
Yeah, there's quite a few times where you think, oh god, like is it not working? Like has it stopped playing? And it's like no, that's just Tanaka being especially slow.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
It's a very slow-paced anime. The jokes are hilarious, but watching it through a second time, I did realize that it is very, very slow-paced, but I think it works for it because of just the whole premise of the anime. But yeah, it's not like fast-paced at all. So then, yeah, Tanaka basically is doing what he can to help out Ota. Like in the music room where he speaks up for Ota, who is supposed to be standing to sing, and he's like, "Oh, can Otacon sit? He sprained his ankle." He's like, "Can I sit too? Because I'm helping Otacon and I'm tired." And the teacher just responds with, "Do your best." They're so done with him. They just know that he's like so not capable that they're just like, just try your best, Tanaka. Yeah, so then they they end up having a fire drill. Oh god, this is genuinely hilarious. Okay, so Tanaka-kun gets lost during the fire drill because he's so used to being carried around by Otacon everywhere that he gets lost in the school. He doesn't even know where he's going most of the time. So the entire school is evacuated. He's just walking through the school and they're playing sad music and it's gloomy, but you're laughing because of how ridiculous it is. But it's like, if you just took that clip out of context, it would be so sad. But in context, it's the funniest thing you'll ever see.
Because he's just like, he's looking at walls. He looks at, like, at the bathroom, just like, huh. Like, he's just... I can't even put it into words.
He goes and finds an empty chair and just looks at it. It's so sad. Like, you're watching it and it's all like grey toned and the music is so sad. And he looks so lost and his face is so sad.
And it makes it look like it took so long because in one of the scenes of him just standing around in the school, like
it's a montage. It's a full montage.
Like it shows the sunset reflecting through the windows.
It gets funnier the more you watch it because the ridiculousness of everything else just makes it so funny. I don't know, it's so well done. And then the episode ends with Tanaka giving Ota-kun a coupon book to celebrate Ota's day because he decides to give him a day for how much that he helps her, but then laughed to himself because he's not going to remember it next year. And the coupon book is just basically will walk to class himself. Coupons. And at the very end of the episode, Ota-kun uses one, and Tanaka's walking so slowly that the bell rings. So Ota-kun runs back, picks him up, his legs are just flailing, and just runs him back to class, and they get there in the nick of time. And Ota-kun just goes, "Well, that was useless." So then episode 9 is Welcome to Whack. which is their version of McDonald's. And so basically, Tanaka-kun has never liked McDonald's because it's just too fast-paced. Like, it's fast food. He can't handle fast food. So Ota-kun wants to try the limited edition dessert that's there. But then Tanaka ends up finding out that there's a toy on the sign for their Happy Meal, but they call it a Lucky Meal. And it's like a tiny little, like, Roomba, like a little vacuum cleaner toy. And he wants one. So he gets to go get one. I've done a drawing of him sucking the strawberry shake in my notes. It's so stupid. It's just like two round little bug eyes.
I need you to send me a picture of this.
It's two round little bug eyes, a nose, a hollow mouth, and then just lines where the cheeks are.
Please send me a picture of this. I have to see it.
I'll send it to you after the recording. Oh god, it's stupid. I'll have to put it up on the Instagram or something as well. Tanaka-kun wants Toyful, but they ended up running out. So he gets a strawberry shake, and he can't drink it because he's too weak. Which is why where the drawing came in. The server ends up getting scared that he's mad about it, and not having the toy, because he just comes across that way. But the two of them end up actually admiring her for working so hard, and that they couldn't have, like, part-time jobs, they wouldn't be able to handle it. And Tanaka ends up beginning to like Whack because of the fact that he can, like, relax there and stuff and eat food, and it's pretty chill once he's ordered and sat down. So they end up thanking the server, and she realizes that they're actually nice people. But watching her, like, panic behind the scenes is quite funny. They end up going again another day, and when they go, Ota forgets his phone at school, so he ends up leaving Tanaka with the food to, like, watch the table and stuff, to go and run and grab his phone. That's when her sister and her sister's friend end up showing there to join him. Saya is the sister's friend. And Saya thinks that Tanaka is princely, and I've got another quote here. What's your brother's gorilla level? Because Saya says that she's got an older brother too, and that he's pretty manly, not princely at all, like he's pretty butch. She says, like, he's like a gorilla. So then Tanaka goes, oh, how many gorillas? And she goes, oh, probably about 3 out of 5. And he goes, oh, that's a lot of gorilla levels. And they end up having a really sweet conversation. Like, Tanaka's, like, concerned that he might not be, like, strong enough to protect his little sister. But they end up having a really cute conversation. And then he turns into a water blob, which is hilarious to see. So I recommend that you watch this episode as well to see him as a water blob, because it's also it's so funny. I'm going to keep saying it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen, but honestly, this entire anime is probably top 2 funniest animes I've ever watched, ever. Like, it hurts my stomach watching this. It just really hit my sense of humor.
Top 2. What was the first? Like, I've got to know what the other one is now.
Well, Daily Lives of High School Boys is definitely up there. But yeah, we'll have to converse about the others, about our funniest animes, and maybe do a podcast later on of, like, top 10 funniest animes and just do a brief discussion of each.
I'm down.
But anyway, so they end up finding out that Saya's older brother is actually Ota, and Tanaka and so, like, the brother and sister duo are actually, like, friends. Like, the sisters are friends and the brothers are friends. And that was, I don't know, it was funny. You kind of figured it out yourself before they mention it. But yeah, it's a good little trope. I thought that was cute. So episode 10 is Tanaka-kun's summer. So they're at the pool, but Tanaka can't swim. And so he brings, like, a floaty, but 2 little kids end up breaking the floaty and then getting scared about Ota, because Ota, throughout all of it, there's, like, little jokes where people think that he's a delinquent that's, like, bullying Tanaka, or he's, like, frightening people because he looks like a delinquent, but he's actually, like, the most sweet little mushball ever. And he can't swim, but he's, like, a master floater because he has 0 physical strength, so he can just float. His buoyancy is max, And so he ends up teaching the kids floating, and they end up floating in their swim class, and they start doubting the future of competitive swimming because Tanaka taught two kids to float.
The teacher's face during the flashback to all the kids, like it's like 20 kids, all just floating on their backs in a synchronized swimming class, and the teacher is just sitting there like, what?
It's so good. And so the next little story is that Mayano wants to grow 10 centimeters taller in a week, so that she can wear a grown-up yukata at the Hanabi festival, a firework festival during the summer. Because at her height, they only sell adorable prints, not like grown-up ones, so she can only get them with like cute little characters on them, and she wants to look sexy. So they end up going to the shops to buy one for her, or to see if they can find one, and that's Otakun, Tanaka, and Shirashi and Mayano all go. And Shirashi at this point, like Mayano knows that Shirashi is crushing hard on Tanaka. And so she's like tries to offer her like, oh, you can come to the festival with us, we'll all go together. And Echi-sen, so it'll be like the five of us and we'll all go. But she's already been invited by a couple of her friends, so she can't go. But she does try on a yukata in the store, and she gets a compliment from Tanaka, and it's really cute. And she's like, this was like good enough. That was sweet, and it is a very sweet moment. Then Miyano can't find a yukata that fits, but then Tanaka ends up offering to make her one. And she ends up making one, and then the group go to the firework festival, and Echi-sen ends up sharing a memory with Ota, and that's also really cute, and they're really sweet, and it's just cute. And then it ends with a joke because she gets angry when he like runs off to go get some condensed milk on some shaved ice, and she ends up pouring all the shaved ice on his head, giving him shaved ice shampoo. That episode is actually really sweet. It's probably just, I don't know, it's just such a cute episode. It's adorable. But then as soon as the fireworks start, Miyano can't see anything because she's too short, just as she's fallen in love with her own height and accepted herself the way that she is, she can't see anything.
I was really hoping Ota would just like plop her chibi self down on his shoulder.
Oh, that would be so cute.
I was waiting for it. I really wanted it. I was like, that would just, because she's literally said like, never mind, I take it all back. I hate being short. Then I really just wanted to see Ota just pick her up and just plop.
Yeah, that would have been cute. So then episode 11 is the cultural festival where they make a haunted house. And Ota and Tanaka end up becoming ghosts. And Tanaka this whole time is trying to be invisible. So he's trying to just turn invisible, and they actually animate him turning invisible. It's so funny. And then so they're like, oh, you end up getting like the most important part. You'll be fantastic as a ghost though because you have no presence. And so they end up putting him in a cardboard box, and it's just like, okay, you need to sit in this cardboard box, and when somebody comes by you need to jump out at them. He's like, okay. They put him in the cardboard box, they turn out all the lights like it's a simulation haunted house, and he just falls asleep. So yeah, they all get prepared for the cultural festival. They set everything up. But then on the day of the cultural festival, Ota is actually scared of ghosts and can't do it. So Miyano has to take over, and she becomes like a aggressive cat demon. I don't really know what she's trying to be, but she looks adorable. And Tanaka actually is doing a really, really good job as a ghost. Like, he's really scary. And
like Tanaka is the highest rated attraction at the whole school festival.
Because he's just asleep in the cardboard box, but he's asleep with his eyes open and the whites of his eyes showing. So I don't know if they like painted it on top of his eyeballs or what they did, but like he's asleep in the cardboard box but with white eyes. And and they say that he's the scariest part of the house. But then they all decide to go on a 1 hour lunch break. And when they go, Ota gets like caught up in like people asking him to help out because he's so tall, so he can reach stuff, and he's just so helpful, so he like runs around to go help people. So Tanaka decides that he's going to go find somewhere quiet to go take a nap. And so he's walking throughout the whole school, and it's crazy busy because it's a cultural festival. There's people everywhere, and he can't find anywhere until he decides to go up onto the roof. And when he goes up onto the roof, it's been like shut off. You can't go up onto the roof, so he just like hangs out in the stairwell there and sits in a cardboard box and goes to sleep. But in his mind, it's only been like 10 minutes. It's already been the entire hour, and he's late. And so he goes to sleep in this cardboard box, and Ota goes looking for him, and as he goes looking for him, he's wondering about, he can't find him anywhere. He decides to go check out the roof, and when he goes to check out the roof, Tanaka kind of hears him, so he gets up to peek over the edge, but he's still in full ghost costume, so he like sneaks up over the edge with his lack of presence, and then it's just like, Ota! And then Ota just stares up at him, and it's just like this terrifying ghost at the top of the stairs in the darkness, and he just faints and doesn't wake up again until the end of the cultural festival, like hours time. And so then, yeah, the others come in and find them eventually. They wake them both up. Because Tanaka gets out of his cardboard box, goes down and sits next to Ota, who's just fainted on the floor, and just sleeps next to him. But anyway, they end up finding them both and getting them to help up clean up and everything. And then they have like a little party afterwards to celebrate the success of the cultural festival. And yeah, it's really sweet. I like that episode as well. The whole thing about this anime, the entire anime is just sweet. It's funny and adorable and just cute. I just like it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's so cute.
It's so cute. So episode 12 is Tanaka-Kun's Happiness. This is the last episode. So basically they have a seating change, and Tanaka-Kun gets put in the front row in the middle, and he's like putting curses on everything to try and make sure that he doesn't get put there, but he ends up getting put there. But Miyano ends up getting put right behind Ota-kun, who is a giant. Miyano is tiny, she can't see anything, right at the back of the class. So this is one of the places, this is, I think, the third time that Tanaka moves quickly.
This is like the quickest that we've seen him move.
There's the rain when he's running through dodging raindrops. There's him having a coughing fit, and then there's this. I can't think of another time when he moves quickly. I think that's it. I think those are the only 3 times he ever moves quickly.
This is the one that I was alluding to earlier in the episode. Whatever we were talking about it, because so Miyano is losing her mind about it, and she's like, I can't see, I can't do anything, and Ota turns around and she's like, Miyano, Tanaka just moved, like before Ota can even get another syllable out, he's already in the back of the classroom going, oh Miyano, I'll switch with you.
It could have been the Flash.
Yeah, like I think pages like rustled whenever he moved that quickly.
He teleported.
He might as well have. Like he moved so quick.
It's insane.
I'm just dead.
I'm dead too. So then he ends up getting the perfect seat because he switches with piano, and he's like behind Ota, so nobody can see him, and he's just like, yeah, I can nap here the whole time now. She ends up sitting next to him, so she's got the seat next to him. And she starts like freaking out about like, how can I make him notice me? So she tries like the hair flip and all kinds of stuff. And she's reading this magazine that's telling her like tips to get a teenage boy to notice you. And nothing's working. Until she unbuttons her shirt a little bit and says, oh, it's so hot in here. And all of a sudden, Tanaka's eyes are like glued on her chest.
Like, its eyes, just like, you literally see him staring out of the corner of his eye. And anytime they focus in this show, like, little diamonds pop up beside their face. And you just see one little purple diamond with a little tink just pop up beside it. And she's like... And she's like, I want Tanaka to notice me, but only Tanaka. I don't want to go for the sex appeal.
It's like nothing else worked except for that.
And then what she does, because Tanaka's just like, look, he's just like, she's like, I'm not interested in love or any of that. I like to be left alone. And then you see Tanaka walking home with her in her like full slob get up with like the hair tie in the front and the braids. And everybody starts teasing him because like, oh, who is this? Like, Tanaka's got a girlfriend. Who is it? And then finally, Ota pieces it together because Tanaka gets pissed. Like, they're teasing him to the point where he is pissed.
It's the only time that you ever see him angry, ever.
And so he's so pissed that he walks home by himself. And as he's walking home, he's like, oh, this would be a perfect time for this person. And this person, he's like, oh, he's like, I actually need people.
Yeah.
And it's so cute and adorable.
Cute.
And so finally, like, they're tailing him home the entire time because they're like, oh, he's got a girlfriend. We're going to figure out who it is. And so Ota finally pieces it together. He's like, oh, macaroons shisho. So he doesn't like, no. Tanaka doesn't actually have a girlfriend. It's Macaroon Master. Everybody's like, Macaroon Master, what? It's like, oh, she's just a friend of ours. Like, he legitimately doesn't. And so then Tanaka and Shiraishi have an adorable moment at the school of because Shiraishi is just freaking out. She's like, oh, I made him have a fight with all his friends. She's like, I feel bad and I think I failed because I don't. She's like, my slob persona is what he is like what he would prefer, but I put all this work into this other character. And she's like, I don't know what to do anymore. And Tanaka sits up because he was asleep, like stretched across 3 chairs in the back of the classroom. And she's like, wait, how long were you here? He's like, oh, I was just sleeping. But anyway, like, you shouldn't feel bad. Like, if you fail, there's always tomorrow. Or always the next day.
And if tomorrow doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like, or even a year from now, like, it'll eventually work out. And she's just like, you know, coming from you, that's not all that comforting. He's like, oh, maybe that's just how I am. But it's just an adorable little moment. She's like, okay. She's like, well, I'm going to keep trying and I'm going to do my best. And then cut to the full song.
Yeah, and that's the end. It's so good. It's so good.
It's so good. Like I said, solid 8.5 to a 9.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good show. I enjoyed it. I loved it.
Same rating for me as well. Same rating.
Like, I was just able to rate this one so much higher. I don't know what it was, but it's just, like, I think it kicks the other 2 shows that we watched last week's ass.
I think it's just different, isn't it? I mean, like, The Daily Lives of High School Boys is sketch comedy to me. Like, it's a skit. It has no linear plot. It's stupid, but it I don't know, it's different. And it makes me laugh a lot, but probably a little bit less than this when discussing it. But I don't know, it's got a rewatchability level that I think is different to this, because that one's forgettable, but this one I don't think is forgettable. It's quite memorable.
It is. It's very memorable, but I feel like you could still watch it through a second time and laugh just as much.
Yeah, I definitely did. I laughed just as much the second time, and for different things. Because I didn't notice things the first time that I watched it, and that I did notice the second time, because there's so many little tiny jokes through it. There's so many little running jokes through it. There's so many side jokes and back character jokes and set design jokes and art jokes and like tiny little things all the way through the whole thing that you don't notice, and so you do get that level of rewatchability because you can pick up on new things every time you watch it.
For sure.
I want a second season.
Yes, second season, please. But I think the reason I'm actually able to rate this one higher is because there is a legitimate, like, it is linear.
Yes.
And although there's not an actual plot, there still is a plot. And there's legitimate character development.
Yeah.
And I've said it a lot on this podcast so far. Like, I am a sucker for character development.
Yeah.
And that little bit in the 12th episode to where he's just like, maybe I do actually need everyone. And he's talking to his sister. He's just like, I'm very glad I have friends. Like, I'm very happy for all of them. And I was just like, my heart.
Yeah.
You win. You win, show. You've officially completely won me over.
Yeah. There's quite a bit of character development. I think probably the one character that started off pretty fully rounded was Ota.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I think he's probably the only one that didn't really have any kind of character development, but I think he's needed because that makes him like the steady, he's the constant. So with everyone else around him developing, changing, coming to terms with elements about themselves, discovering romance or whatever, he's the one solid character, and that is him through and through. He is completely solid the entire time.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. And he is solid,
too. Yeah.
He's a big boy.
I wonder how tall he is. Because, like, he's tall for Japanese people, but, like, is he tall?
I don't know.
Makes me curious, huh?
That's a good question. They never gave us, like, a full, like, centimeter count on any of the characters.
No, I'm gonna Google it, because it might have been in the manga.
Oh, I've been crying. This has been great. I've enjoyed this.
Me too. My throat is, like, sore and my, like, stomach hurts. I've got, like, a six-pack now that I didn't have before.
That's how you can tell. Like, my voice has been cracking the entire time. Oh, I love it.
6 foot.
6 foot?
6 foot.
You mean to tell me that I'm taller than Ota by 4 inches?
Yep.
Baka.
According to fandom.com, he is 6 foot.
Huh. Interesting. I figured he'd be taller. Like, I figured like 6'4", 6'6", almost.
Oh, Tanaka-Kun's only 5'6". That makes sense.
Oh. Okay. Makes sense. I'm also guessing Tanaka's like 100 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah. I want to see about Miyano.
4'2". But I'd almost say like 4'11".
4'8".
Oh. Damn it.
Yeah, she's tiny.
And that's another thing I'll say too. Like, I feel like all the voice actors on this show like fit their characters extremely well.
So well. Yeah, when you sent me the clip of the dub, it really threw me for a loop. I was like, what? What?
But even so, the clip of the dub, like, the voice actors fit so well too.
I think they did fit, yeah. It just fits in a different way. Because in the sub, Otakun's voice is quite deep and, like, barrowing. Like, that's not a word. Like, hollow, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, it's a presence voice. Whereas in the dub, I would put him more at, like, a movie star kind of manly jock type voice rather than, like, a deep resonating voice. So they do work, just different types.
Yeah, like, it fits for the character in different ways.
Yeah.
Because Ota's still very serious in the Japanese version, but he's, like, I don't know how to put it. It fits. It fits really well.
It
Either
does
way,
fit.
it fits
I
perfectly.
agree. Yeah. No, I don't really have anything else to say on this. So what about you? You got anything else that you want to say?
I'm out of stuff to say as well. Like, there's...
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we can only say, oh, it's so good. So it's before it just becomes repetitive.
It's genuinely really, really good. So yeah, I think we're gonna go rest our stomachs and our throats from laughing so hard, and drink some tea or something. I'm not sure. um,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have some sparkling water and then drive home and go to bed.
yeah, sounds like a good plan. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I do very much appreciate it. If you want to follow the podcast, feel free to do so on your current platform that you're listening to it on. But we're also on Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean. So bnbanime.podbean.com, I believe.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And if you have any suggestions, you can hit us at any of the socials at BnB Anime, or you can email us at bnbanime@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can also follow the lovely Blue on all of the socials at Blue Lavender STM, or you can also find her on Twitch Monday through Saturday, unless I'm stealing her away to record podcasts at twitch.tv/Blue Lavender.
Yeah, and you can also find Brad when he does stream on Twitch at Brad Carter Gaming.
I do stream. I'm hurt.
You need to get back into it, dude.
I promise I will. I've been without a setup for like a week.
Yeah.
Don't remind me. It hurts. I miss streaming. I miss gaming.
Oh, we miss you too. You need to come back to Twitch. And
I promise. I'll be back.
But you can also find him on the socials at Brad Carter Gaming as well, I believe. Or just Brad Carter, I think, on a couple of them as well. But if you go to his Twitch, then you'll be able to find everything else from there.
Everything is linked there.
Everything is linked there. And yeah, if you don't watch the anime, please just watch the opening. It's amazing. It's so good. You'll smile from ear to ear, and then you'll watch the whole anime because you can't watch the opening without watching the anime. It just makes you want to keep watching. So watch it.
Watch it.
Watch it.
That's been the most violent watch it that we've gotten so far.
I will threaten you like he threatened the gods. Yeah, no, it's genuinely fantastic. It's such a good anime. Honestly, out of all of the animes that we have so far watched and recommended to watch, I would put this one close to the top. Like, in the top 3 of so far. You need to watch it. You need to watch it right now. Maybe even top. Just, this is your introduction to anime. Watch it.
Yeah, like this is one of those shows that you could literally recommend to anyone to watch.
Yeah.
And like I can highly recommend it, especially with everything going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
This is a show that I think everybody needs. Like it's a perfect escape for 3 hours. If you skip the OP, don't skip the OP. So 4 hours. Like it truly is just a perfect escape from everything.
Yeah.
You'll laugh. You'll cry from laughing. It has its heartwarming moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good. Like watch it with friends, just 6 feet apart because social distancing.
Yeah, just get on Skype or Discord or have a Discord party or whatever. Careful of some of them. I know that like Zoom has been banned in a lot of places because of the trolls and stuff that have been hopping on there. But whatever, like messenger app basically that you have that you can Skype people with, throw this on, watch it together, laugh together, cry from laughing together, together. You won't cry. There's not a sad episode. Everything that looks like it's going to be sad is actually hilarious. There's not a sad moment in it. It's genuinely so funny and sweet and heartwarming and bubbly, and it's a fantastic show to watch right now. So yeah, 10 out of 10, do recommend.
Yes, 10 out of 10, do recommend. Outside of that, thank you all so much for listening. Blue and I greatly appreciate it. You all are amazing, and we will catch y'all next week, hopefully for Kiki's delivery service, or we'll find something else last minute, because, yeah, we are perfect at planning.
We are so good at planning.
But, yeah, we'll catch y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye!